the fear that AI was replacing human.
Powered by AI, but it has to be driven by people. Humans are the creators of AI.
What is Agentic AI?
Agentic AI is where the entire industry is gravitating towards now.
Walking into Agentic or generative AI.
Yeah.
Is there any framework that they can adopt?
The process readiness. How standardized these processes are. How consistently you perform those processes in a stepwise manner. Because the agent is also going to
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast, a voice of alum at IIM Ahmedabad. Today, in our first episode, we have Mr. Ajay Sabnani, who is the founder of Genexa.AI. He's also the PGPX alum and pass out of 2018-19 batch, a leading voice in Agentic AI and an industry leader in AI strategy. We welcome today Mr. Sabnani.
Welcome, Ajay. Welcome back to IMA. I know you have 20 years of experience in the tech industry, Accenture, PwC, and you're also known as a leading voice in Agentic AI. Right. So one of the things I wanted to understand was that what are the key milestones and challenges you saw in enterprise AI that led you to build Genexa AI?
So, great question. See, when working with enterprises, and I was lucky to be part of some great enterprises like PwC, Accenture, right, and building end-to-end AI systems for the clients. One thing I realized is that if you want to play a role across the entire value stream, right, which means that you start off with the strategy part first. You set up the AI strategy for the client. You help them think through not only the short term of like a 3-month or a 6-month roadmap, but like what would AI look in the organization like in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, right? So that kind of long-term strategy planning is something which has to be setting up the foundation of adopting AI in an organization, right? And then comes the execution part, of course, right? Working in enterprises, you often always get siloed in different parts of this workflow, right? You might play a role in the strategy, but you may not play a role in the execution side of things, or vice versa. But what I felt is that in order to do justice to the clients and to their AI journeys, you need to be first creating those roadmaps, creating the strategies, and then also walk the talk, which means you need to be an end-to-end value creation partner. And that kind of flexibility, that kind of ownership, that kind of commitment you can bring when working or for your own organization, because you get that kind of flexibility to drive things.
Right.
So that kind of led me to kind of go independent, move out of corporate roles, which was of course very comfortable and very exciting, but the kind of autonomy that I was looking for, it could only come through my own venture, and also staying close to the client's problem statements, staying close to the client's daily lives and daily industry problems, right? And being able to deliver right at the level of the entire value stream analysis. So, all of that led me to kind of set up my own firm, Genexa. We've been lucky to be working with some of the great clients with end-to-end understanding of what their AI journey is going to be looking like, right, and shape those journeys for them, right? So yeah, I mean it's been an exciting journey working with Genexa or setting up Genexa in that sense, and yeah, I mean that's how we kind of set up.
You have extensive experience in the tech industry, from Accenture to PwC, and you're also a leading voice in Agentic AI, how AI should be implemented in enterprises. Can you tell a bit about your experience and also the challenges you saw in enterprises which led you to form Genexa AI?
Great question. I've had a very good stint with corporate roles with companies like Accenture and PwC in terms of delivering AI for our end clients, right? And by virtue of working with global companies, you understand the culture of MNC clients, you understand their needs and their requirements. So it's been a great enlightening experience in that sense. And I also had kind of a chance to play a good role in the execution side of things, right? But what I feel is the need of the hour with organizations today, especially with newer technologies like generative and agentic, is that you need to start right at the grassroots level of developing an AI strategy first, right? These are very transformative technologies. These are very deep rooted. These are going to be very deep rooted in clients' value streams.
Absolutely.
And so you need to first start building the AI strategies. You need to kind of have a very good understanding of the roadmaps. And then you need to go on to the execution side of things, take the client one step at a time through this journey and handhold them towards their AI objectives and mission, right? This kind of flexibility and objectivity that I wanted to bring to my own art of delivering AI, was somewhere restricted in corporate roles, because in corporates you tend to get siloed into either a strategy role or an execution role. But I wanted to be an end-to-end partner with my clients throughout this journey, right? And so I felt that, this is the time I should be setting up my own organization. And with the wealth of experience that I've gained by working with different clients and world-class organizations, if I can bring that wealth of experience across the entire value stream for the clients, right from strategy to execution to delivering AI roadmaps and building agentic solutions. So nothing more satisfying than that. And with that understanding, with that intention, I set up the company Genexa.AI. I was lucky to find a good team, founding team, along with me, my co-founder, right? And we were also lucky to get some good clients who believed in us and who gave us our first chance. So it has been a good journey so far, and yeah, we are on to it.
So I think that your huge strategy experience as well as your love for implementing at the base level really talks wonders in terms of what Genexa will be. One of the conversations that is there in the industry is the fear that AI was replacing human, right? But your mission is a fresh moment in that conversation where powered by AI but driven by humans, right? So what does that philosophy mean in practical terms?
See, we clearly believe that the future of organizations, as our tagline also says, is going to be powered by AI, but it has to be driven by people. It has to be governed by people. Human in the loop is not an exception. It's not an option. It's not an alternative. It is the way AI systems should be designed, right? What we sincerely believe is that humans and AI together is not a zero-sum game, right?
Absolutely.
Humans are the creators of AI. AI is the creation of human technology, experience, human knowledge, right? It is an outcome of all these years of knowledge and all these years of technological expertise that we have come to, that we have been able to design a marvel like AI. And the creator and the creation together cannot be a zero-sum game, right? The creator and creation together can go beyond what either of them can do on their own. So humans and AI together can go beyond what either humans or AI can do alone, right? That is a philosophy with which we approach all our problem statements. We like to put human safety, human security, the data security part, right, at the center of every AI design that we do, every system that we design, right? And we sincerely believe that, AI for the longest time needs to be governed under human-centric values. This is also something which the regulatory acts around the world, for example, European Union Act, EU Act, for example, your US AI Act, all of these regulation acts which are coming in the by the different governments are also going to mandate human in the loop. Unsupervised AI is not going to be accepted across the world, right? That's the philosophy that we work on, and we believe that the system of knowledge creation has to happen in such a way that humans and AI work together to greater heights, right, and to greater productivity levels.
Absolutely. I think I resonate quite well with the idea that human and AI should be augmenting the next innovation and not just AI. Right?
Exactly.
And there are so many new policies that are coming up which majorly should be driving that innovation forward. But for the wider audience, I would like to understand that what is Agentic AI, right? And how does it differ from traditional AI or generative AI?
So, great question again. Agentic AI is where the entire industry is gravitating towards now, right? What creates the appeal around Agentic AI is that it gets you to the level of automation where it starts mimicking human behavior to the greatest extent, right? It starts kind of, having the kind of reasoning and thinking capabilities that a human has, right? So think of an agent like an AI system with hands and legs and with a reasoning mindset. When the AI model is able to evaluate different alternatives, reason through them, right? Given a set of alternatives, it is able to reasonably choose an alternative and able to explain why it has taken that decision. And then it is also able to kind of go out and execute things in the real world for you, right? It is able to call tools, it is able to have memory of what past actions it has taken and learn from that memory to become better, to evolve with more intelligence. These are the characteristics that convert a traditional AI system into an agentic system, basically. And with agentic agentic AI, what we are seeing is that, as I mentioned, the different human capabilities of having a reasonable, rational judgment about things, about planning long term, and about executing those steps and learning from them so that you're able to then deliver better results, better outcomes. These are the capabilities which the AI system is able to now inculcate. And then when it does that, it turns into an agentic AI system. And definitely, this is where the rubber meets the road, because organizations and enterprises are not only looking for predictions or outcomes, right? They are not just looking for basically some kind of recommendations. They are also looking up to these systems to actually take actions, to learn from their actions, and to deliver better and real outcomes for their business workflows. So all of these things are now turning into reality with the agentic AI. So that is why there's a lot of interest about agentic AI and what it can do for enterprises, what it can do for the wider world.
Right. Driving a bit more into that conversation, when generative AI came in, there was a lot of buzzword, but along with that was a lot of misconception around it. Similarly, I believe for agentic AI also, right? I was going through your buzz to breakthrough session in the Renaissance Summit 2025. I want to just help and understand what are the most common misconceptions that are there by business leaders on agentic AI, and how can they address those on an enterprise level.
See, the biggest misconception that we come across in enterprises is the assumption that almost every process is ready for an agentic intervention, right? There are certain prerequisites that need to be there if you want to start undertaking your agentic AI journey, right? First and foremost is your process readiness, right? Which are the processes that you're picking up for automating via agents? Are those processes standardized? Are those ready for agentic implementations, right? That is the first level of analysis that needs to be done. Do we have the data readiness for, agentic implementations? Do we have the infrastructure for agentic implementations? Because see, the building blocks of agentic AI, your memory, your compute requirements, your reasoning models, right? These require a lot of understanding, maturity, and capabilities in terms of designing those systems so that they are able to deliver business outcomes for you. And the second biggest thing is that all of these things is like a journey. It's like a journey, right? It's not that the agentic system that you built on day one will start performing across the entire life cycle and giving you 90% coverage of your workflow and maybe 95% accuracy. So you need to have realistic expectations around agentic AI, right? These are systems which are still evolving, which are still new. The reasoning capabilities are at a certain level. And so, your expectations from these systems on how they will develop and how they will grow and how they will become more mature need to be realistic, right? So these are some of the misconceptions that we come across, right? And we try to work with clients in terms of setting up the right expectations, setting up the right roadmap. And this is what I was explaining earlier also, that
Absolutely.
things with agentic get much deeper much more rooted in your business processes, in your business workflows, right? And so your strategy and your roadmap need to be developed first. There needs to be a good understanding of what use cases you are picking and what's the journey going to look like, so that there are no surprises
Right.
for you, for the end client, right? And the journey is also kind of something which becomes a learning and a successful journey for everyone. So yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the understanding I want to get from this is that there are a lot of people who are entering into this at a very nascent maturity level, right? Enterprises who are just walking into agentic or generative AI.
Yeah.
Is there any framework that they can adopt or strategy? What should be the initial strategy to implement this in their enterprise and get the maximum potential out of it?
There are good frameworks, and I mean the framework that we follow. I can tell you a little bit about it. As I was explaining earlier, also that the first and foremost requirement is the process readiness, right? As an organization, the process that you're going to choose for agentic implementations, for implementing AI agents, how standardized these processes are, right? How consistently you perform those processes in a stepwise manner. Because the agent is also going to, in the initial days, kind of, trying to standardize the business process and deliver on that business process. So the process readiness is first and foremost, right? Which process you're picking up for agentic implementation and how standardized these processes are, right? And is each and every step of the process well defined? Is there clarity about how the process starts and ends, like through each and every step, right? So the first and foremost is about this step. The second step is about data readiness, right? So the data related to the process, how much data do you have to train the AI agents? Because the AI agents need to kind of understand the various permutations and combinations of what's happening in a particular workflow, right? And so your data readiness, I mean, it's a cliche, but it's still true. Your AI is as good as your data.
Absolutely.
If there's no data, there's no AI, right? For most organizations, the data digitization journey is also still in progress. They are still slowly getting there. Many organizations have already undertaken it, but there are still many organizations which are still getting to that level of data maturity. So the first step is process maturity. The second step is data maturity. The third step is infrastructure maturity, because as I was explaining to you, these are very complex systems, right? And you need a lot of understanding of what are the building blocks of an agent. So you need infrastructure maturity. You have to have the right infrastructure. You need to have the right compute, the right memory structures, the right tooling and orchestration parts. And the fourth and most important part is your vendor collaboration, right? There's a lot of noise out there in the market today, right? And almost everyone is talking about AI agents. Everybody is building and launching AI agents, but the maturity of the builder, the maturity of the vendor who's going to build AI agent for you, right? Most companies, I don't think, are at that level where they can build AI agents in-house because of the level of expertise that is required. And it is also not suggested in the initial days till you reach that level of AI maturity. So the kind of vendors or the kind of partners you choose to help you develop AI agents is the most important part, because they are going to decide how you undertake the journey. Are you picking up the right use cases? They're going to look at each and every of these steps, the process, the data, the infrastructure, and they're going to guide you and be your partner across the journey. So I think that's the most important part. If you get that right, maybe the other things start falling in place.
With innovation comes an alignment to risk, with so many policies, acts coming into the picture for AI. How do you think enterprises should manage their growing innovation along with risk management?
So catching up with regulation is always a moving goal, right? Regulation, since it's a very nascent industry till now, AI is still growing. It's still evolving, and a lot of regulatory bodies, including governments, including nations, are still trying to put their head around how to regulate such a potential force that AI is, right? And that is why a lot of regulatory aspects are still evolving. So for one, definitely being aware and being up to date of about all the different acts, being well aware of where your systems are going to be deployed. For example, if your system is going to be deployed in European Union, then what does the EU AI Act recommend as part of regulation? What does it kind of, what kind of constraints it puts on your systems? You need to be well aware about that. If your system is also going to be working in US, then you need to again be aware of what US AI Act, which is a little more liberal or a lot more liberal than UAI Act, allows you to do, right? So in that way, during the design phase, you need to be considerate and you need to consider what all different geographies your systems are going to be deployed in, and accordingly what kind of guardrails, what kind of safety features, what kind of regulatory design aspect you have to take care of, right? What kind of design you will develop which will also comply to the regulation of that particular geography where it's going to be working. And yeah, again, your partner, your development partner, your vendor partner plays a very important role, because as working in the industry, they are very well aware of where the regulation is going, what's happening, and how to kind of build those designs which can work across different nations, right? So of course, by design, you have to kind of you have to start at the design level, right? When you're designing the AI systems, your guardrails, your safety, your regulatory aspects have to become part of your design level strategy, rather than as a reactive strategy after developing the product, thinking about now what should we do about safety.
Right.
So it has to be you have to start with that safety first, regulation first approach, so that you can manage the risk, and within those boundaries you can then innovate and kind of you can develop systems.
Thank you, Ajay, so much for your insights. We have a small section with you to know a bit more about your PGPX experience. So this is a rapid fire. I'll ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Tell me whatever comes to your mind first.
It's been 6 years. It's been some time, but yeah, a lot of water has flown under the bridge. But I'll try my best.
I'll ask simple questions. Yeah. So, ready?
Yeah.
Biggest surprise during your first week at IIM Ahmedabad?
Although I was brought up in Ahmedabad, but then I spent a long time outside of the city, and you come in April, which is the hottest month. So the biggest surprise again for me was the heat. I was the heat of the season and the heat of the course, both combined together, kind of hits you and kind of knocks you off. So yeah, I mean that's something I remember.
I think all the students here will absolutely agree with you. Which professor left the biggest impact on you and why?
I think all of the professors have their special characteristics, have their focus areas, and you get to learn a lot from different perspectives that they bring. Everybody has a very different personality, and they bring a very different flavor to their subjects and to their teaching. Having said that, I really loved some of the subjects which Professor Vishy taught to us, right? I mean, microeconomics, because economics is something that we all deal with as part of our daily lives. We kind of, always economically evaluating and making decisions about various things. So, that's something, and the way he taught, the way he makes it very easy and relatable. And again, there was an elective game theory that he offered, and I think he still offers that, which is again a very, very interesting take on, how do we make decisions? How do we kind of, make decisions in any part of our life, right? It could be personal, professional. What kind of thought process goes on in your mind, right? And how do you kind of use that to gain a competitive edge in business when you understand your own thinking and the game theory that goes behind it. These were some of the subjects that I liked, and yeah, of course.
So I think a lot of students are also bidding a lot of points to that single subject. So I think they will be very happy with that. One PGPX learning you apply daily at Genexa.AI?
To do a lot of groundwork, to do a lot of research. I mean, part of PGPX, doing the case studies, coming to the class with a lot of groundwork, a lot of research, a lot of analysis, so that you are confident about the topic, you're confident about your own perspective and your point of view, right? Works a lot, and this is very important in the age of AI where a lot of these concepts are still evolving, a lot of these things are still taking shape, and enterprises are looking for those visionary leaders who understand the domain of AI, who understand the domain of business and how they come together. It involves a lot of research, right? And you need to be very thorough about both the aspects. And that is something I try to follow each and every day for every client presentation, for every client discussion, for every product design that we create, for every piece of work that we do at Genexa. We lay special emphasis on deep rooted research and building from first principles.
So, which was your favorite spot on campus?
I think the grass is always greener on the other side. So we used to stay in the newer part of the campus, and so you always like to go to the other side of the tunnel, the old campus, and get a feel of the red bricks and everything. One of my favorite activities, by the way, every day was in the evening to go for a run across the entire campus. So start from the new campus, cross the tunnel, go across to the old campus, and go till the end of the old campus, and then kind of come back. You get to meet a lot of new people on the way. You make friends across different batches, different parts of the IMA community. Yeah, I mean, it also kind of was a very good stress buster.
So, one advice to the current batch on how to make the most of PGPX.
I think be open-minded. Be open-minded about everything. This is like a sea. It's like an ocean of all things possible, right? About the kind of academics, the kind of practical experiences, the kind of co-curricular activities you can do over here, the kind of relationships you can build with your fellow students, with your professors, right? Treat this as a sandbox environment. Make all the mistakes that you want here, learn from them, and then you're ready for the external world. So IMA gives you that safe environment to kind of experiment, fail, learn, grow, have fun. That's the best way of making the most of this experience, right? So with an open mind, try out everything, just free yourself here. That's my message.
Thank you so much.